This might surprise you, but skipping the author bio on your blog posts, it might be quietly killing your SEO and your AI visibility. Yet those little blurbs at the end of a post matter more than ever in 2025. So today I'm going to show you why they're essential and exactly how to set them up in Showit and WordPress without touching a single line of code. First off, author bios aren't just about looking legit anymore. They build instant trust, highlight your brand expertise, and improve your content's performance in AI-powered search tools like ChatGPT, Google SGE, and Perplexity. That little bio, it signals experience, expertise, authoritativeness, trust, aka Google's EEAT. Without it, your post might get skipped entirely in search results. If you're using Showit, you're designing the front end, but WordPress controls your blog content, including your author bio. Search engines and AI read your bio from WordPress, not Showit. So even if it looks beautiful on your site, it won't matter for SEO if it's not set up correctly in WordPress. The first way that we can set this up is by creating a custom template in Showit, which gives you full design control. So in my Showit account, I created this area of content that has my name, it has a little bio, it includes details about who I am and what I do. And then within the blog section of my site, I created an archive that pulls in content by me. So I'll show you how I set that up. The first thing I did was that I gave it a label for the page called archive-Krista. And then this part is important. We want to make sure that we're filling out the template info. So the template name is going to need to have this naming methodology. It needs to be author-your name. So whatever your username is, whatever it's displayed in WordPress, that's the one that you want to display there. For me, mine is listed as Krista, so it's author Krista. And then the next thing I did was I set up an in-post loop. And an in-post loop, if you're not familiar with that in Showit, is just when your blog posts come in. It might be easiest to set this up depending on how your template is created by duplicating an existing category page or a search page. So I could do that by duplicating this category page. I'm going to pull it up here to keep it organized. And we could rename this to be archive-Davy. And then over here, I need to adjust this template info. So instead of it being connected to the category page, I want it to be a custom page. And I'm going to do, let's see, just to make sure that I get this right, I'm going to come over here and copy author Krista. And this is going to be author Davy. And then that way it's going to pull in all of Davy's relevant details. Another thing that I did on my particular author page is that I added this extra bio area at the top that introduces people to me, so that if my content gets picked up, it's a little bit easier for them to click over, learn more about me. It's easier for AI tools and different search engines to tie this author info back to me. And so if I wanted to have this on Davy's page, I could just copy this section over here or create one for him. So I'm not going to make my video super long today, so I'm just going to add it up here. So we'll paste this above. And then instead of it saying Krista Jones, we could say Davy Jones. And I could fill out all of his author details here and add a photo of him. And I could go a step further. I could add a heading up here that says recent post by Krista Jones. We don't have to do that. And if this is set up correctly, it should pull in all of the posts from this particular content. You really shouldn't have to customize this in-post loop at all in order to get it to connect to the author's posts. And this is what it looks like actually on a live Showit site on my site. So this is in WordPress, and you can see that all of my current latest posts are in here, and you can keep scrolling and add more pages or load more pages in order to see the full list of posts. So that's how we can set that up without a plugin. If we want to use a plugin, I think it's even easier, and I think it adds the correct schema data, which is probably the more ideal way to go. So option 2 is using a WordPress plugin like Simple Author Box or WP Post Author. If you want to know which one we're using on our site, we're using Simple Author Box, the free version. So to get this set up, you're going to install it as a plugin and then activate it. We're going to go to plugins in our WordPress site and we're going to add a plugin, and I'm going to search for Simple Author Box. And it's already installed on my account, which is why we see it listed as active here. But if it wasn't installed on yours, you would activate this and then go through the basic customizations and setup. I am going to go and show you what that looks like though. So if I go to my active plugins and I go to configure author box, it's going to pull up all of the different settings that I can include here. So there are a lot of different visibility settings where you can control which pages or types of content it appears on, right? I just have it on my posts. I didn't want it on my pages. I thought that might look kind of funny. You can control whether it's manually inserted, unless you really know what you're doing and you want to add the code for that. I'd probably avoid that one. We could control the different elements that show up. So if you wanted to have an email on there, you could. I have mine so that it links to different social media tabs. We can control the appearance, so changing like the margins around the bit of text, the padding, whether your image shows up in a circle or a square or other items. There are lots of different ones in there. So lots of different settings, and you get even more settings that you can control if you upgrade to the premium version. We can control the colors that show up in your profile, the fonts that are used. They're kind of limited. I think it's just pulling from Google Fonts, but if you know how to do CSS, you could probably override those. And if you're ever not sure how to get to those individual settings, if you go to one of your live posts and click on, and you're logged in and you click on the settings down here, it'll take you to that customization page. We can also control where our social media accounts are linked and which ones are showing up by going to edit profile. And so if you edit your profile, it's going to pull up your listing as a WordPress author. And so I was able to control how my name is displayed in here. This is where I added my bio. And then if we scroll down even more, you can add your image. So I uploaded my headshot and that's how it brings in that particular image. And then you can connect your different social media icons right here. And so you can tell that this is for that Simple Author plugin because it's listed Simple Author plugin. So they have a ton of different plugins in here or different platforms connected. So all you have to do is click add new platform and you can choose which one you want to connect and then put in the full URL to your different profiles. So you can see here that I have https instagram.com/JVandKrista. So you want to make sure that whole URL is in there in order to get it to connect effectively. And then once that plugin is set up and once I have that page done on my site, it's going to create a page like this so that if I click my name, it will take me to this author page, and it's pretty cool the way that it works. Here's a pro tip. In your author bio profile, make sure that you're adding keywords that you want to show up for. So mine, I made sure that I included words like Showit designer, and I linked to some of the different resources that we have. When it comes to actually writing the text for your bio, there are a few things that we want to do to make sure that it's optimized for SEO and AI. First, we want to keep it relatively short, probably less than 60 words. Make sure you include your title and your niche and a location if you want to show up in local searches. It can also be helpful to link to LinkedIn. AI really trusts LinkedIn. That is definitely an area that I need to work on growing this year because I've kind of avoided it. But know that it's on my plan. It's coming. And then link to other relevant social profiles as well. It can also be helpful to use the same profile photo throughout all of your different platforms. That helps these different AI bots, these different search bots connect you as a real person who shows up in all of these different places. And then I recommend doing this setup the plugin version way because it's going to let you add the proper schema. And you can make that even more powerful with different WordPress SEO plugins like Rank Math or Yoast. Let's talk about some FAQs and common mistakes. So, question, do I need this if I'm a solo blogger and the only one posting to my site? Yes, AI still checks for author data even if you're the only author. Second question, should I set this up as static text in my template or should I use the plugin? I think it's probably better to use the plugin. I think it's going to be easier to update in the long run. It'll be easier to have other authors added to your site, and you know it's going to add that proper schema text. What if I only have a basic Showit plan? If you only have the basic Showit plan and you're limited in terms of what plugins you can add, use the free Yoast plugin instead of Rank Math. All right, if you haven't added your author bio yet or it's hidden in WordPress, now is the time to fix it. And if you want help matching your bio page to your brand, check out our Showit templates or drop a comment below with your different setup questions. Thanks for joining me.